Bitcoin has gone on a rampant surge, smashing through the 2017 resistance and now over $20,000. Today, we're going to look at what is the immediate term, next 2 to 4 weeks, high probability outcome with Bitcoin based on the recent buying and selling behavior. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let's dive straight into Bitcoin. We are on a daily chart with Bitcoin. And what I have on the chart is something called Elliott wave counts. And the markets tend to move in fives and threes. And it's all around psychology, buying and selling behavior. Now, we had a huge resistance point in this region, and Bitcoin smashed through it as if it weren't even there. So that's a nice bullish sign. So what we're going to look at today is what is likely to occur next based on this behavior. So when we know that the market's moving fives and threes, there's only a few outcomes, right? There's only really a few outcomes. Now, if we look all the way back to this date over here, which was November, towards the end of November, Bitcoin started this surge, a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I call that a 1 or an A. Right now it's not confirmed, but it's likely to be a 1. And I'll show you why in a second. We had a correction, quite a sharp correction. That's going to give us a clue on what's likely to happen next. Again, a 2 or a B, but we're leaning more towards a 2, mainly because of what's happened in the last few days. We've had this rampant surge. Really just look at that movement. It's just beautiful to the upside. Now it's hit this ratio called 1.618. This is typically a maximum wave C, but a very common wave 3. So it's likely, more now we're leaning towards this being a wave 3. A wave 3. And we're going to break this down just in a bit more detail, because then we can see what is now the right time to buy. It doesn't mean Bitcoin can't keep surging up. But if we look at how wide these bars are, the market has been overbought for a while. So let's just look at a couple of factors. Let's put our bullish hat on for a second. What would be the next price target if Bitcoin continued? Well, the ratio is actually called 2.618. That's the next typical ratio. This is called an overextended wave 3. So this is the most common wave 3 ratio, and we're in that zone right now. So it's likely to be a wave 3. But if it overextends and it keeps going, the next zone is actually this point over here, $24,000 Bitcoin at 2.168. Now, is that likely? It's not likely, but it is possible, especially with the recent buying behavior and just, a lot of buying behavior tends to happen at the end of a wave structure. This is called a wave 5 of a wave 3. That's panic buying, and it just tends to explode. But we've had that movement already. So what's likely based on probability? That's what I'm going to focus on the rest of today's video. What's likely is some type of correction. Now, we've been waiting for a correction, but now it's becoming more evident. What is likely to occur is if this is a wave 1, 2, 3, what occurs next is typically a wave 4. Now, there's a principle of alternation. When wave 2 is sharp, like literally is a pretty sharp correction, like it's almost just straight down. Wave 4s tend to be the opposite of wave 2. In other words, sideways. So we're likely to get some type of correction with a wave 4. It could be a 3-wave structure. It could be more of a complex correction. But the typical minimum price of a wave 4 correction is something called a 38.2% retracement of wave 3. So this is what looks like to be a pretty clear, aggressive, impulsive wave 3. So we are due for some type of correction. Now, I don't personally like to trade wave 4s, so I would just stand aside and wait for this if it occurs. Now, what's going to give us the real confirmation of if this was a wave C or a wave 3 is really what happens next. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're looking at a next surge happening, which will more than likely mimic wave 1 to some degree. If this is going to occur, we can ask ourselves the question, what should not occur? Now, I'm getting into a bit of detail with Elliott wave. So before I continue, I just want to let you know that I've actually got a 4 Secrets Masterclass. And one of the 4 secrets is detailed Elliott wave analysis. In other words, in a logical, mechanical way, being able to look at the fear and greed, buying and selling behavior, then we can know what's likely to occur next. That's in the 4 secrets. It's free. It's in the description link below. But continuing on the vibe, of Elliott wave, I asked myself the question, if this is a wave 3 and we are getting a wave 4, hasn't occurred yet, let's just say we get something like this, what should the market not do? Now, there's an Elliott wave rule, which is based on buying and selling behavior. Figured out back in the 1800s that wave 4s cannot trade into the closing range of wave 1. So if this is indeed a wave 1 peak up here, here's the closing range. That's why I've drawn this dashed line. So we know that the price should not go below pretty much 17,800. So it should not go below this point here. Now, if it does break this point over here and closes down here, then that confirms to us this is actually not a wave 3 and is in fact some type of wave C. Unlikely, very unlikely, but possible. So then we let the market price and the buying and selling behavior tell us what's happening. And we just need to make our thesis ahead of time. So what do I anticipate is going to happen? Well, we've got this nice move up. It's pretty common of a wave 1. Nothing too crazy about it. A sharp ABC correction of a 2 or a B. Very impulsive, what looks like to be a wave 3. We're probably going to get some type of sideways moving wave 4 into the 19,400 range to 18,800 range. That's most typical and most common, but it's probably going to take at least 2 to 4 weeks. How do we know that? Well, it'll probably be longer than what was taken for this particular wave structure. And this was around, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, around 18 days. So we're probably talking about 3, maybe 4 weeks of sideways to down once we start getting some selling behavior. Wave 4s are a classic profit-taking wave. But once a wave 4 is complete, what will tend to occur is a new high above the wave 3. And that I'm seeing in terms of the 24,000 range. And that, my friends, is the analysis for Bitcoin. A massive unlikely surge, because we had this big resistance zone from the 2017 high, and it just smashed through it like it wasn't there. So that's probably going to become now the new support as a correction occurs, and then a continuation over the next few weeks. So this is what I'm seeing over the next 3, 4, maybe 5, 6, maybe even 8 weeks, sideways to down, and then a new surge to the upside. So check out the masterclass, take your trading to the next level. Let's finish on a quote. By the way, we've got value out today because that's high level Elliott wave. We're looking at really only 2 degrees of wave counts right now, but it does give you a massive opportunity to see what's likely to occur. Don't get caught up in the hype of the fear of missing out. That's the most common greed emotion, like it's fear and greed that plays out over and over again. We need to be able to step back away from the emotion, look at the logic, and play the odds, play the probability. So let's finish on a quote from my book, which you can also now download for free in the link below. It's chapter number 3. It's Confucius, and he says the following: "It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop."